I'm Clara, and today I will tell you a very important story from history. It is about a man whose actions changed the world forever, Adolf Hitler. We will learn about his childhood, his dreams, and how his life began. Remember, this is for listening and shadowing practice. Speak with me. Repeat after me. You are doing amazing. Every word you say makes your English stronger. My name is Clara, and I'm here to share a true story. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th in a small town in Austria. His father's name was Alois Hitler. His mother's name was Clara. They lived in a simple house. His father worked for the government. His mother stayed at home and cared for the children. As a boy, Adolf enjoyed drawing and painting. He loved to make pictures of buildings and nature. To be honest, he dreamed of becoming an artist. He wanted to study at an art school in Vienna, the capital of Austria, but his father did not support this dream. His father wanted him to have a safe and stable job in the government. When Adolf was only 13 years old, something very sad happened. His father died. It broke his heart, but it also gave him more freedom to follow his own path. He decided to try for art school. However, he failed the entrance exam. He tried again, but he failed the second time too. Out of nowhere, his dream of being an artist was gone. Life in Vienna became difficult for Adolf. He had little money. He stayed in small, rented rooms, and sometimes he even slept in shelters for homeless people. He sold small paintings to tourists to earn some coins. The winters were cold, and the nights felt long and lonely. For the first time in his life, Adolf began to think deeply about politics. He read many books about history, war, and leaders. He went to meetings and listened to people speak about the problems of the country. Slowly, he became more interested in ideas about power and leadership. In 1913, Adolf moved to Germany, hoping for a better life. The next year, in 1914, something huge happened. World War I began. Adolf joined the German army as a soldier. He was sent to fight in France and Belgium. Life in the army was dangerous. He worked as a messenger, carrying important messages between soldiers on the battlefield. Many times, he was close to death. Once, he was injured and sent to a hospital to recover. But after some time, he returned to the front to fight again. During the war, Adolf received medals for bravery. He felt proud to serve Germany. But in 1918, the war ended and Germany had lost. I didn't see it coming, but this loss would shape his thoughts for years to come. He believed the country had been treated unfairly after the war. This belief would become a powerful force in his life. After the war, Adolf had no job, no family, and no dream of art anymore. But he had something new, a strong interest in politics. Soon, he would join a small political group that would grow into something far bigger than anyone expected. Adolf began attending meetings of a small political group in Munich. It was called the German Workers' Party. At first, he only went to listen, but soon he began to speak. People noticed that he spoke with passion. He used strong words and big emotions. To be honest, he was not a quiet man. When he talked, this small party had only a few members in the beginning. They met in small rooms above restaurants. But Adolf had big ideas. He believed the party could grow. He wanted it to have a clear name, a clear message, and a strong symbol. Out of nowhere, he suggested a new name, the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Later, people would call it the Nazi Party. Adolf also helped create a new symbol for the party, the swastika. It was placed on red flags and banners. The meetings began to grow larger. More people came to listen to him speak. Some agreed with him, some disagreed, but they all remembered his speeches. Germany was in a bad situation at that time. After losing World War I, the country had to pay large amounts of money to other nations. There was little food. Many people had no jobs. Prices went up every week. Families struggled to survive. Adolf used these problems in his speeches. He told people he could make Germany strong again. He promised jobs, order, and pride. In 1923, Adolf and his party tried to take control of the government in Munich. It became known as the Beer Hall Put. But things did not go as planned. The police stopped them. Adolf was arrested and sent to prison. It broke his heart to be behind bars. During his time in prison, Adolf wrote a book. It was called Mein Kampf, which means My Struggle. In it, he explained his ideas about politics, leadership, and the future of Germany. The book would later become very famous and very dangerous. After less than a year, Adolf was released from prison. When he returned, he decided to work within the law to gain power. He rebuilt the Nazi Party, making it more organized and disciplined. He traveled to many towns and cities, giving speeches to large crowds. The party started winning more votes in elections. In 1929, something happened that changed everything. The world economy crashed. This was called the Great Depression. In Germany, millions of people lost their jobs. Factories closed. Families could not pay for food or rent. Many people felt hopeless. I'll never forget that time in the story because it gave Adolf a huge opportunity. He told the people he could fix everything. He promised to make Germany strong again. His words gave hope to many who were suffering. By 1932, the Nazi Party was the largest political party in Germany. The next year, in 1933, Adolf Hitler was made Chancellor of Germany. It was the most powerful political position in the country. For the first time in his life, he was not the poor, lonely young man from Vienna. He was the leader of an entire nation. But this was only the beginning of a much darker chapter. When Adolf became Chancellor of Germany in 1933, many people were full of hope. He promised jobs, food, and a strong nation. Factories started working again. Roads and buildings were built. Some people thought life was improving. But slowly, the country began to change in a dangerous way. The government made strict new laws. People who disagreed with Adolf's ideas were punished. Books were banned. Newspapers could only write what the leaders allowed. Step by step, the people lost their freedom. Adolf wanted Germany to grow in size and power. In 1939, his army invaded Poland. Out of nowhere, this started a huge war, World War II. Soon, many countries were involved. The fighting spread across Europe, Africa, and Asia. For the first time in my life, I understood how one decision could affect millions. The war brought terrible suffering. Cities were destroyed. Families were separated. Many innocent people were taken from their homes. In camps, millions of Jewish people and others were killed. It is one of the darkest times in human history. At first, the German army won many battles, but by 1943, the war began to turn against them. Germany lost in places like Stalingrad in Russia and in North Africa. The Allies, countries like Britain, America, and the Soviet Union became stronger. They pushed the German army back toward its own borders. In 1944, Allied soldiers landed in France on a day called D-Day. It was the beginning of the end for Adolf's army. Bombs fell on German cities. Food was running out. People were tired and afraid. By April 1945, the war was almost over. The Allies were closing in on Berlin. Adolf stayed in an underground bunker. He knew there was no escape. On April 30th, 1945, Adolf Hitler died. 1 week later, Germany surrendered. The war in Europe was over. After the war, the world saw the full truth of what had happened. The destruction was enormous. Millions of lives were lost. The cruelty and suffering shocked people everywhere. It broke my heart to read about it, but it also taught me something important. We must always be careful with power and leadership. History is not just about the past. It is about learning lessons for the future. Adolf Hitler's story is a warning about what can happen when power is used for harm. We must remember the value of kindness, respect, and peace. You did amazing today. You listened, you practiced, and you learned not just English, but a piece of history. You are stronger and smarter than you think. Keep practicing a little every day. Thank you for spending this time with me on